Want to watch that again? Want to share it with friends and family? Yeah, it's great stuff, isn't it? Kim McDonald on our website, weathernetwork.com. But it's good to see you here right now. Suzanne Leonard with the team, with the winds yesterday, 70, 100 kilometer an hour winds on Wednesday. And today it's been all about the cold, the sun, but the horrific commute that so many of us have endured today. Very slippery roads, not a lot of treatment left on the roads. A lot of it's been washed away by recent mild spells. So bare roads, despite crews, best efforts, of course, to try to keep them safe. Warm front moves in for Friday. You'll see the southwest winds, the direction swing around, the wind speed pick up, 40 kilometer an hour gusts. This is good news in many ways. Watch the temperatures rise this evening, the contrast between today and tomorrow, from deep purple to dark blue to light blue, and Friday afternoon, well, let's switch over to our forecast highs. The sun melting the snowpack keeping the air cooler than it would otherwise be if it were bare ground, but still 2 to 4 degrees in the forecast for many parts of southern Ontario. That's a look ahead to Friday. We will, when the cold front comes through Friday overnight, turn colder again. The winds go to the northwest, a little bit of a wind chill for Saturday. Unfortunately, colder still for Sunday, like -7 and feeling like -12. This is very light precipitation event, if any. There is not 20 centimeters on the way again for us. Oh, we sure can feel it. Thanks, Jacqueline. -16 it was this morning in Toronto. It was a bitter cold start and an absolutely brutal commute. A brutal commute. It's important for us always in the news business and the weather business not to overplay or sensationalize, but I can categorically state a brutal commute for this morning. It was so slippery, so icy, so many issues. -16 was the temperature this morning. -16 will be our wind chill tomorrow morning. So that is an improvement. I'm not looking for silver lining here. I'm not trying to be Pollyanna-ish about it. I'm just trying to say, hey, we're getting a little warmer. There's just a slight chance of a flurry tonight. Really, it's more passing cloud because this Clipper system is going to warm us up. I know you're happy about that. May not be so happy about the Arctic high pressure that's behind it. We've got that flow coming out of the north and west. So passing shower or flurry mixed in, wet flurry, and then we go down to 1 and then -7 Saturday, Sunday. The trend for Toronto, the trend for Barrie is a little downwards, but hey, much better travel conditions, and of course more treatment on the roads now by our road crews, especially after so much has been washed away with recent mild temperatures. Enjoy the rest of your March break. Like it very much, Natalie. Love the Courtright Center, the maple syrup, the temperature trend. Well, let's see. We'll start off with the current temps and wind chills. Still feeling roughly what the air temperature was this morning, and it was a brutal morning commute. And coming up in a moment, Rachel will take us through the evening commute. The winds are still going strong. They are light. They are backing from the northwest down to the west, which means, yes, southwest next. What's that going to do for our temperatures? Well, Natalie will want to know, and so will you on this March break. There's the flow out of the southwest. Warm front comes in, so for Friday, it's going to be a little warmer and a little windier, as you can see with the wind scale here. Overnight tonight, quite a bit warmer. Again, -16 is a wind chill. -9 significant. It's below normal by a good 5 degrees, but we were -16 this morning. It'll be a -16 wind chill. I'm trying to put this into some kind of context here. It is going to be milder, but below normal for the overnight, and then milder and at normal for tomorrow. Slight chance of a shower, might be mixed with a flurry. So that's the system coming through to bring us the southwest winds. There is some snow. It's well to the north. So whereas we got over 20 centimeters in Hamilton, and I've heard reports of some of those kinds of amounts in parts of the GTA proper, it's not going to be anywhere near that, not even for northern Ontario. Long-range trend for temperatures up and down. We need to get the maple syrup flowing, and we also need to get into a normal spring pattern. I mentioned 4 is the normal high. -4 is the normal low. Notice we're still trending below average. We're a little up and down, I'll be honest about that. And many other parts of the country really suffering with some of this cold Arctic air. There's a snapshot of Sunday, and that's why we're cooling down. And also Sunday, watching a storm system to our south that may bring us some active weather come Monday.
Studio.
Oh, I love the Courtright Center. Thanks, Natalie. There's a lot of sap that goes into making just one small bottle of pure maple syrup, pure Canadian gold. It's great stuff, isn't it? I mean, who hasn't carefully packed that in bubble wrap in a suitcase to take it to friends and family overseas? Yes, indeed. Current temperatures, Pearson's going to be a busy place this coming weekend, of course, as March break wraps up. Hope you've had a good week, a safe week. Hope you didn't get into any trouble on the roads today or yesterday. Rachel's got your roads today coming up. Icy temperatures, icy roads, snowstorm yesterday, low visibility, blinding snow. Tomorrow, yeah, we'll have more blinding sunshine, and thankfully, yeah, you can believe this, above zero. Temperature's not much above zero because there's a thick snowpack, so the sun does its work to melt the snow, but there's a lot of heat that's absorbed into that melting process, so there's not as much to heat the air. Cold front comes through overnight tomorrow, passing light precipitation, if any at all, certainly passing clouds. Saturday we're cooler. Sunday, sadly, we are cooler still. The weekend looking calm for travel, but Rachel, what to say? You know, the black ice, probably the biggest and most widespread challenge for drivers today.
Absolutely, Suzanne.
An absolutely brutal commute and drive earlier today, and this was some of the prettier footage that we could share with you. I know, spinning out, the sun shining. Why was it so awful getting around this morning? Hearing stories from our colleagues here at the Weather Network of it taking twice as long to get to work, and in some cases even longer. Big closures, the Burlington Skyway Bridge inbound towards Toronto on the QE, and just really very little traction. Well, if you take a look at the temperatures, extremely cold this morning. We got down to about minus 16 in Toronto, and of course with the recent mild spell, a lot of snow melt, a lot of runoff, and a lot of that residual salt and grit that had built up on our roads has gone. So there wasn't as much traction from that, and of course we had very heavy snow yesterday. As far as commutes go, this morning, I think we'd all agree, us here and you, has been one of the worst of the winter. A dangerous commute. There were a number of collisions, just a nightmare to get around. And we've got all the latest on our website here, some of your stories, some of your photos as well, continuing to follow up as the storm blasts into Atlantic Canada. So crazy conditions, crazy drivers sometimes, our Beat the Traffic colleagues telling us. So please remember, lots of extra space, full headlights when there's low visibility like yesterday. And just be aware that you may be dealing with more limited traction continuing tonight because the melt that will come with the sun today and of course the refreeze with the cold temperatures overnight, there's no real reprieve yet. I want to show you a snapshot of conditions Friday across the country, and I really want you to see where the cold air is. We're up to 4 on Friday, but then Saturday that colder air comes down into Ontario yet again. There's a clipper system coming in quickly from the prairies. It doesn't bring much precipitation to us late Friday, if any, but overnight Friday the front crosses us and we're dropping below seasonal again. On our website you'll find the temperature trend for the long range. We should be +4 at this time of year, and we are going down and then likely up again towards more seasonal temperatures next week. We're going to watch out for the potential of another Ohio River Valley storm Monday, Tuesday, and potentially long range next Friday to Monday. So the next couple of rounds of active weather that we're tracking for you. Those are trends for you to keep in mind. We might want to take some inspiration from these guys who are tackling winter, March break. Yeah, they're out and enjoying it. Send us your photos and hang in there. Oh, Natalie, such great Canadiana. Classic Canadian spring moment, those maple syrup buckets. And how much sap to syrup? It's something like a 40-to-1 ratio. Head out to that Courtright Center. It's a great spot to go to. It's beautiful. You can hike, you can walk in the woods. Current temperatures are cold. It doesn't feel like -7 in downtown Toronto or -11 in Barrie because the sun is so strong. It's higher, of course, on the horizon, just with the shifting of the seasons. And Friday will finally be back to normal temperatures after a brutal snowstorm yesterday and a brutally cold and icy commute this morning. And Rachel's coming up with a closer look at traffic. Friday, March break winding up. Don't worry about this. This is not serious in terms of stormy weather. There's going to be some passing cloud, 5 centimeters of snow for northern Ontario. We warm up with the southwest wind Friday. We cool down with the northwest wind Saturday. And sadly, we are colder still on Sunday. Now, coming up, your local forecast, and we'll tell you what happens temperature-wise after that. Rachel, road closures. It was a brutal morning. What about the closures now? I sure do, Natalie. Thanks. A bonnet. When was the last time that you wore a bonnet? Rachel's laughing at me right now. Of course, you can always tuck one of those little tight little, yoga or running little hats underneath your bonnet, I suppose. Keep yourself warm. It's all about the layers, so layer underneath your bonnet is my weather dressing advice for today. -7, feeling like -14. Toronto, Hamilton, let's see, 7, right, okay, add those numbers together and you get almost the amount of snow that you had yesterday. Not 21, but actually 22 centimeters officially up on Hamilton Mountain. What a tremendous snowstorm. Low visibility. Today the winds are calmer, the sun's out, there's black ice. There's going to be, unfortunately, more ice forming tonight. The wind, well, it all kind of works together. Let me explain. You're looking at gusts right now close to 30 kilometers an hour. The winds out of the northwest to west. The winds sustained will die down, so we'll see that reduce into the yellow zone, switch around to a southwest orientation. A low comes in, the winds will pick up again. So we're cold tonight, cold enough for anything that's melted with the sun to refreeze and form more, I know, kids. You're watching. I'm giving you a little March break test. Yeah, more ice tonight and more black ice possible. The wind is good for drying up, causing evaporation. So it's a mixed scenario, but I would say more ice sticking around and forming rather than water evaporation. It's just very cold today. It'll be seasonal tomorrow. There's going to be cloud cover passing, and there's certainly going to be some snow to our north. Not 20 centimeters for the GTA. Not even 20 in the north, but 10 centimeters. Temperatures going down, though, on the weekend. And coming up, we're going to take a look at your local forecast because we're not quite consistently +4 yet. Also ahead, next, incredible stuff. I want to show you the snow amounts and talk about how today's a much better day, except for the fact that we've had so much black ice. And I would say, in some ways, more difficult driving conditions today than yesterday. Ice and black ice, of course, you can't really see it, which makes it more difficult to adjust your driving accordingly. Yesterday, I mean, you couldn't see because of the snow blowing around, and there was thick snow on the roads, and a lot of the layers of salt from recent storms this winter had washed away with recent mild weather. But real challenges, certainly. Wednesday's snowfall totals, yeah, impressive stuff. 20 or more, Toronto east and west, so all the way in the Windsor to Cornwall corridor. Temperatures really came down this morning. They're currently still well below average, like it should be +4 in Toronto. We're 10 plus below the norm for this time of year. And Arctic air has moved in behind the low. The wind switched southwest, so that boosts us up. We will get a little bit of passing cloud, maybe a passing wet flurry tomorrow night. And then colder Saturday and Sunday again. So we're past the storm, at least, Rachel. We're past the storm, but we're not past all the attendant problems with road clearance and certainly clogged roads with traffic, right?
Which one's which?
Okay, let me go for it. That one's warm, so I'm thinking that's the maple syrup. And that is extremely thick. I'm thinking that's the table syrup. Don't give me the answer. We're going to find out if I was right coming up in our next segment, Suzanne.
I like it. Thanks, Natalie. She downed those pretty quickly, didn't she? Whoop, whoop. And is she getting more off camera? I tell you. Maple syrup, the sugar bush, growing up in Montreal, it was always great fun to go out to the sugar bush. And even though we're at a more southerly latitude, there are great places in the GTA, like the Courtright Centre, where you can go for some March break fun. On a sunny day after a bitterly cold start, it was twice as cold in Timmins as it was in Toronto, -20 in Muskoka. They got a little snow yesterday, nothing up in North Bay and Timmins from this storm system. A cold start. Oh, look at this. Thanks very much, John, my director. -16 this morning, 30 degrees warmer in Medicine Hat and in Calgary yesterday. Here's the trade-off. One part of Canada is warmer than normal. Another is colder than normal. That seesaw will, I guarantee you, swing our way at some point coming up. Maybe not tomorrow, but it is coming. West to northwest winds, there are the wind arrows, there are the gusts in orange. What else is in orange here? Well, 20 to 40 kilometer an hour winds. So we're still a little breezy this evening, and then we get a little breezier. But Friday, southwest winds and temperatures going up. Not tonight, although that's warmer than it was last night. The wind chills are about what our air temperatures were this morning. So we're up to -9s and -10s. Still a little breezy, as you saw a moment ago, and then the forecast highs anywhere between 2 and 5 degrees. This is decent. This is comfortable. There will be lots more snowmelt, higher river flows. There will be some passing clouds. The storm stays to our north. Well, I can't really call it a storm. It's an Alberta clipper. It's a fast-moving prairie clipper, comes our way. It will cool us down a little bit for the weekend. And your local forecast is coming up in a moment.
If you were with us about 10 minutes ago, Heather had me taste test table syrup and maple syrup. I have a little bit of a sugar rush right now. That table syrup, was I right, first of all?
You were right. Yes, that was definitely table syrup.
What gave it away for me was that the maple syrup was warm.
Yeah, well, we warm it up by the fire for our taste test, which sort of makes it a little cheating. But the table syrup is also really thick. Its main ingredient is corn syrup, whereas this is 100% maple sap.
Oh, and you could taste it and warmed up like that. I mean, it did give it away, but I was loving it. Suzanne, I don't know if you love pure maple syrup, but this is top quality here.
No other way to go. Thanks, Natalie. Yeah, it costs a little more, but it is pure Canada in a bottle. Pour that on. Makes me want pancakes or French toast. Makes us all want some comfort food, right? When you see these temperatures, -10 in Barrie, cold and sunny out on Lake Simcoe. Ice fishing continuing, snowmobiling too. Be mindful of ice conditions, of course, with the recent warm-up, then the cold air, then the warm air tomorrow. Temperature fluctuations, something we've all got to deal with at this time of year, along with traffic fluctuations. Rachel in a second. She's the traffic specialist. Weather-wise, we'll be warmer Friday. You saw that. Some mixed precipitation, mainly to our north. That's where we'll see 5 centimeters. A passing flake or shower or a wet flurry tomorrow, and then colder Saturday. Colder still on Sunday, and that temperature trend goes down into Monday. We may have the next storm system pass by us Monday into Tuesday. That is what we're keeping an eye on in the long range. Now, you're all over today's traffic, and I think that you would say less of a challenge tonight than it was this morning.
Yes, we